Um, so the knowledge retreat was it was a very personal self-quest for me. I'd gone through a lot in the past few years. I felt like my spirituality wasn't essentially kind of like on level as I wanted it to be. At the same time, I had a lot of stuff that I wanted to kind of like get out. And subhanAllah, it all came together. I actually met his daughter a few weeks before this happened. And then after that, I prayed istikhara. I kind of like saw how my studies were going, and subhanAllah, it all came together. And yeah, I ended up coming for all those reasons. And actually being here has been it's been amazing, because I feel like everything's come to a round circle. I didn't react in the way I thought I'd be reacting. I actually reacted in a much better way. And seeing Sheikh Akram, seeing the whole sort of like ASI community once again, it's just been sort of like a breath of fresh air. And I feel like this is where home is. I've loved them, not because he's my sheikh, but because mashallah Sheikh Akram has an amazing way of delivery. They've just been brilliant. They've been very, very rich in knowledge, even in thinking. I mean, he's emphasised a lot about us thinking differently and challenging perceptions and challenging narratives. And the way in which he's taught us has literally exemplified everything. And so I really liked it, because it's very different to your usual classes, which you sometimes stumble upon either in mosques or in like sort of like ISOCs or whatever it is. I mean, they're great, don't get me wrong, but they've just been absolutely great and very rich in knowledge. I thought the syllabus was good. It was very rounded. I did feel like the organisers were trying to give us, were trying to enrich our experiences as much as possible, and they were trying to give us as much as we can take within these 10 days. But at the same time, I think there would be kind of like a few things which I personally would have emphasised more. So I think the tafsir and the purification of the heart, they were my favourite. And I think as for a spiritual retreat and for a knowledge retreat, I would have preferred more hours for them and more times for them. Because at the end of the day, they do sort of like, they do the job for someone who's coming here, who's literally retreating into a cave, forgetting everything about the outside world, whether it's work, whether it's job, whether it's studies. And I feel like that spirituality, I would have highlighted it a bit more and heightened it more. I loved the day trips. The day trips were absolutely amazing, and especially given our history, our Islamic history, going to Gharnata, going to Qurtuba. I don't know how to explain them. I don't know how to articulate well, because they were awe-inspiring and they were great. And I think, again, I thought the organisers did a great job, and Abu Bakr al-Gharnati, our tour guide, he was absolutely brilliant. I mean, the day trips themselves were so full of knowledge. And I actually got really upset, because I'd kind of like get caught up in taking pictures, because naturally I want to send the pictures to my family, and so I missed out on kind of like a few bits of history, whether the Sheikh was talking or whether Abu Bakr was talking, and I felt really annoyed at myself. But the day trips were absolutely amazing. The venue was probably the best venue you could choose. I think it all ties into the syllabus, it ties into the type of retreat we're going to. I think even the history of the venue, and having Sheikh Al-Salam come out from the very first day and talk to us about his story, talk to us about the way in which this was constructed, the idea behind it, the history behind it, and then us kind of like, I don't know, it really felt like we were sort of making history, but in a weird way. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I really feel like maybe in 50 years' time, when Rasalis is perhaps expanded or whatever it is, we'll be able to say that we're part of, like, you know, the sort of like, we were there on the first knowledge retreat with Sheikh Akram. It's really amazing. It's very secluded, and I think that also falls under the theme in which ASI team are really trying to push in terms of the cave. It's secluded, it's stunning, it's beautiful. Everything here is organic, and everything here is, it's natural. And I think that's beautiful, and that's what really helped me personally to connect back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because I felt like there were no distractions, aside my phone, but there were no distractions. Everything was natural. I mean, the mountains around us, and then even when the Sheikh in our tafsir classes, for example, would be talking to us about like an ayah, literally I'd look out the window and I see a mountain right there. When he told us the ayah about the khilafah and about how even the mountains and the skies and the earth, they would refuse to carry that. It was very easy for me to visualize, because I'd be able to look out and see that right in front of me. And I think that's really necessary. I mean, it's a necessary experience, especially for us city people. So yeah, the venue was amazing. It was, I think, more than I expected it to be. This isn't out of flattery, but I think it's because I've been to retreats before. I've been to the retreat, the very first retreat with Sheikh Akram in 2013, which was Umrah. That was their very first retreat, and so coming back, like, what, 4 years later, seeing how sort of like advanced ASI have become, I don't know, I feel like it exceeded all expectations. Venue-wise, even people-wise, the people I've met have been amazing. And I feel like also everyone came here with a sort of personal story, and being able to connect to every single person and realising that literally we were all hurting in one way or another, and we're all coming here to sort of like heal that, and that Sheikh, obviously, ultimately Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a healer, but Sheikh Akram, I don't want to say he was a mediator, but he enabled us, and the ASI team enabled us to sort of like, you know, heal those wounds to an extent, but through each other. I don't know if that makes any sense, but back to the retreat. The retreat actually exceeded all expectations in every single aspect. Every single aspect. I don't know how to articulate that even further. I would absolutely recommend this retreat to everyone I know. I was actually trying to recommend it to my friends in Istanbul at the moment, and they have no idea who Sheikh Akram is. And so I'm telling them next year I'm bringing you all back here with me, even if you don't understand English. I would definitely recommend this retreat to everyone, and I think everyone, whoever they are, wherever they are in the world, even whatever language they kind of like speak, I think everyone will be able to reap some benefit from this, from everything, just not just Akram, not just the classes, but like I said, from the people, from the company over here, from the nature, from the organisers themselves, and seeing how they've upheld themselves in such a sort of graceful way, and really done their best to accommodate for us, even when we were very, very, very sort of like, what's the word? We were very greedy in a sense, not greedy, but like, I mean, we were all very demanding at one point or another, especially with the Granada trip, and just seeing you all accommodate for us has been amazing.